Hi, I'm PBK, and today we're going to take apart the Motorola Droid Turbo. First thing, what we're going to do is take off the SIM tray, which is the volume rocker. You can put your finger underneath it, your nail, and pull it out. So once you got that out, you're going to need a pry tool. I like to use a guitar pick because it's thin, doesn't damage the housing. We're going to run it along the sides of the phone to get the catches out so it can release the back housing off the phone. Just run it along the edges. It's not going to go towards the bottom of the housing. It just goes along the edges to the top and to the other side. And then, once you have those catches released, you can put your nail underneath and just pull the housing off a little bit gently. There's adhesive on this part on the inside that's attached to the battery that's holding it down, so you're gonna have to work it out a little bit gently until it comes off. So once you got it off, on the inside, the wireless charging has the pad attached to the back housing right there with adhesive. So you're gonna have to pry that off the back housing to get the back housing off. So I'm gonna go take that off real quick. Okay, then you take the back off. This was the piece this black piece, the pad that was attached to the back with adhesive. Here's inside the back. Okay, so we have a new type of battery connector that's located right here. Focus in on it. Alright, so taking off the battery connector, I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver. Pops up like that. You just pop up the clip and the connector comes off. And then we have some Torx screws. We have 4 on the bottom, along the bottom ridge over here. And then we have 4 also on the top. We're gonna take all those off right now. And I believe the Torx T4 or T5. Okay, now there's 2 clips on top, one on this side and one on the opposite side over here. You're gonna need to use, well, I use a Torx 1 or T1, T2 size Torx screwdriver to stick it into the holes over here. It has like a hole, then you could pop it up, and then you do it to the other side as well. And this top piece will come off. Same as the Droid Max, pretty similar. And you're left with that. Okay, next, you're gonna lift up the board from the bottom on the left side of the phone. And that's gonna pop up. Like so. And you have your LCD connector right here. You're gonna have to remove the tape. I'm gonna use some tweezers to get the tape off. To protect the tape to hold the cable down in place. And then pop up the connector. You pop up that white connector and then you could pull the flex cable out and separate the LCD from the main board. So here's your LCD. You have your earpiece on top and onto the main board. You have your camera over here, your front facing camera. And then you have your main camera on the back over here. Your battery, just like the Droid Max. The connector comes around to underneath the board. Connects to it right here. And here's your SIM card tray. Now, looking at the battery, honestly, it doesn't look any bigger than the Droid Max XT1080, the previous year's model. I have one right here. I mean, it's actually, it looks thinner and, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit shorter. Last year's battery looks bigger, but I don't know how this year's model lasts longer. As far as if you look at, I don't know if you can see in the camera the thickness on the battery, but the one for the Droid Max compared to the Droid Turbo, the Max one is a bit thicker. And as far as lengthwise, it looks a bit longer, if not the same size. So that's weird, I don't know. I'm not gonna take off the battery on this since I really don't need to. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just has some adhesive on the bottom. If you want to pry it up to replace the battery, you can just heat it up a little bit and then separate it from the board, put something underneath it. Just make sure you have your battery connector off. You just pull it up and then remove the connector on this side as well. And this connector is for the wireless charging, by the way, that comes over the battery. Okay, now we're going to put the phone back together. Once you got the flex cable in, push down that white connector so it keeps it in place. And then we're going to put the tape back on. Put the right side back into the frame of the LCD and then push it in. And then put the top part back. Snap it back into place. And put those screws back in. And then put the battery connector back on. Just popping it back on, pushing it in. And then next we're going to put this bracket piece back in place. It just sits right there, it's loose but it sits right there. And the back housing goes over it. So the back housing, you're going to slide the phone into the pouch on the bottom. Like so. And then just push back in the clamps. Make sure you got all the clamps pop back in. And then we're going to pop back the SIM tray, pop it back in. And then power on the phone. And now we're done. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment below.